Hey there, Mr. Sutton here, bringing you the IM3 Honors 1-1 Extra Practice number 6 solutions on evaluating functions. There's a puzzle that goes with this one. Let's check that out. So here's our extra practice puzzle, and in this one we're trying to solve the riddle of why did Zorna pour ketchup on her brother's hand? So the gist of this one is that you have to complete these tables using the function that they've given you here, and for each number when you complete it, just look up the answer over here on the right side in this answer column, and whatever letter goes with that number, put that letter under the number down below here. So for example, if I do number 1 and the answer is, say, -5, well, that would go with D, so I would put a D right here. I don't think that is the answer, but just as an example. So let's go ahead and figure out what's going on with Zorna and her brother here. So we're going to do 4 problems at a time here. For each of these tables, we're essentially taking the x value on the left side and plugging it into the x right here in the formula to get a y value that goes with it. So for example, for number 1, we have 1 for x, so I'm going to rewrite this as y equals -2 times 1, which is just -2. So that's -2 that I'm going to be looking up over here. And it's helpful that what they've done, they've written these answers from lowest to highest, going from bottom to top, so you can find your answer pretty quickly. So here's -2. That goes with h, so we put an h there in spot 1. Now moving on to the next one, number 2, we're plugging in 4 for x, so -2 times 4, which is -8. -8 in my table is e, so we have an e there. For number 3, we have -5 going in for x, so -2 times -5, which comes out to positive 10. 10 is toward the top here, that's an r, so we put an r right there. And finally, the 4th question on this table, we have 3 going in for x. -2 times 3 is -6, and -6 goes with answer B, so that goes in spot 4. For this next group, we've got a new function, y equals 4 plus 2x. So let's apply that to each of these inputs. Applying it first to 3 for problem number 5, we've got 4 plus 2 times 3. That's 4 plus 6, which is 10. 10 goes with r, so 5 is an r. Next, we've got -7 getting plugged in, so 4 plus 2 times -7. 2 times -7 is -14. Plus 4 is -10. -10 is down here with O, so 6 is O. Moving on to 7, we've got 1 getting plugged in, so 4 plus 2 times 1. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 is T, so put a T there for 7. And for number 8, we've got -3. 4 plus 2 times -3. 2 times -3 is -6, plus 4 is -2. And -2 is h, so h for 8. For these next few, we've got y equals -3x plus 1 going on for the function. So let's plug in 3 first for number 9 here. So that's -3 times 3 plus 1. So that's -9 plus 1, which is -8. -8 is down here for e, so 9 is e. Next up, number 10, we have -3. So -3 times -3, this -3 in red is getting plugged in, plus 1 there. So this is going to be 9 plus 1, which is 10. 10 is r, so r is 10. And then, so that just kind of worked out. It was question number 10, ended up having an answer of 10, so that's kind of confusing. On to 11, though. We have 4 getting plugged in, so -3 times 4 plus 1. That's -12 plus 1, which is -11. -11 is s, so 11 here gets an s. And then we have 12, -2 is getting plugged in there, so -3 times -2 plus 1. That's 6 plus 1 is going to be 7. So 7 corresponds with A, so 12 is A. For 13 through 16, we've got this y equals 1/2 x minus 4 function. So this one's a little bit more challenging with that fractional coefficient. So let's plug in 10 to get number 13 going. So this is 1/2 times 10 minus 4. Half of 10 is 5. 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 is right there. That's an I going for 13. For 14, we've got negative 2. So 1/2 of negative 2 minus 4. Half of negative 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. Negative 5 is D, so D for 14. And then for 15, we have 4. So 1/2 times 4 minus 4. Half of 4 is 2. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Negative 2 is H, so let's put that there for 15. And then finally we have negative 8, so half times that minus 4. Half of negative 8 is negative 4. Negative 4 minus another negative 4 is negative 8. And negative 8 is E, so 16 is E. Next up, we have the function y equals negative x plus 6. So plugging in 4 for x, we have negative 4 plus 6. That's going to be 2. 17 then is going to be, let's see, w, because that's what goes with 2. Now we have negative 1 for number 18 here. So this is negative 1. The negative gets plugged in as well. Negative 1 is 1 plus 6 gives me 7. 7 is A, so 18 is A. Now we have 6 going in there, so negative 6 plus 6. That actually zeroes out. And 0 goes with N, so N for 19. And then finally we're plugging 0 in, so we have negative 0 plus 6. Well, negative 0 is just still 0, so that's really just 6. And then 6 goes with T, so 20 is T. 21 through 24 is going to be a little bit more challenging because we have this negative 3 over 2 for the coefficient now. So let's start with 21, plugging in 4. So negative 3/2 times 4 minus 2. For all of these, I'm going to first divide by the denominator of 2 and then multiply by the numerator of 3. That'll be the order I do it in just to make my life a little easier. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Negative 3 times 2 is going to give me negative 6. And then negative 6 minus 2 is going to give me negative 8. Negative 8 is E, so that's 21. Next up, we're plugging in 2. So negative 3/2 times 2 minus 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so this is just negative 3 right here, minus another 2, which gives me negative 5. Negative 5 is D, so 22 is D. Now we have 0 getting plugged in. Well, this is nice. Negative, well, really anything times 0 is 0. So this is just negative 2. Negative 2 goes with H. So H there for 23. And then finally plugging negative 2 in with negative 3/2 being multiplied by it. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Negative 3 times negative 1 is 3. 3 minus this 2 gives me 1. So a lot of steps going on there. 1 goes with I, so that's 24. Now we have 7 minus 3x for this next batch of problems. Let's plug 6 in to get this going. So 7 minus 3 times 6. 3 times 6 is 18, so we have 7 minus 18, which is negative 11. Negative 11 is S, so 25 is S. Now we have 7 minus 3 times 1. Well, this is just 7 minus 3, which is 4. 4 is P. I think that's our first time seeing a P, so there it is for 26. Now we have 7 minus 3 times 0. I love plugging in 0. This is just 7 minus 0, which is 7. And 7, we've seen that a few times. That's A for 27. Finally, we have 7 minus 3 times negative 2. This is really 7 plus 6, which is 13. And that's the very first one at the top here. That's an L going in for 28. We're on to our final table here, number 8, table number 8 anyway, problems 29 through 32. This is just 1 minus x, which doesn't look all that bad. So we have 1 minus negative 2 for this first one. That's really 1 plus 2, which is 3. 3 is m, so 29 is m. Next we have 1 minus negative 9. That's really 1 plus 9, so 10. 10 is R, so 30 is R. Next we have 1 minus 9. That's going to be negative 8. Negative 8 was E, so there we go for 31. And then finally we have 1 minus 6. That's going to be negative 5. Negative 5 was D, so that's our last letter, D. We've filled in all these letters, all 32 of them. It's been a journey. Now we have to figure out, why did Zorna pour ketchup on her brother's hand? Piecing this out here, we have a her brother said he wanted his palm read. Her brother said he wanted his palm read. Oh, I get it, like a palm reading. And Zorna is a name that it sounds like this would be someone who would tell your fortune, I guess. All right, I get it. Until next time, Mr. Sutton, signing off. I predict I will be ending the video now.